All right, how y'all doing tonight? Thanks for tuning in here to the Corner Stage Showcase once again on a Friday night here at the Biographic Studio. And you wouldn't believe it, but we are actually in the front of my biographic shop, and there's signs in the background, like poor Dakota's going to stand here and look at this oil change sign and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we're literally just in the corner of our little shop here. So that's why we call it the Corner Stage Showcase, because we're just starting out here small to start building up an audience and awareness for what I'd like to do in the future, and that I'm calling it the Corner Stage Arts and Education Center. And so we do these Friday night live shows every Friday, and we have a different musician, different performer come in every Friday night, starting about 7 o'clock, and just live here on Facebook. And you'll notice in the comments down below, there's a link, a PayPal link that you can donate. Just click on that link, follow the instructions. There's actually a drop-down window once you get to the PayPal page that you can give directly to the performer, or you can give directly to the Arts and Education Center, whether you want to help us buy a building or buy equipment or pay the electric bill, whatever it is you might want to give towards. But you can actually give directly to the performer tonight if you'd like to do that. So we'd appreciate any donations that you have that you could give that way. Credit card, debit card, PayPal, Venmo, all those sites or all those ways to give are definitely appreciated. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over here to Dakota. He's going to play some classical bass, and this is something that you don't hear very often. And so he's going to give a little demonstration of what he can do on this bass here. And then after he's done performing, I'm going to come out and we're going to do a little interview, and we're going to talk and get to know who this Dakota kid is. And I think you're going to enjoy it. Make sure you like and share this with all your friends. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we'll see you all soon. Dakota Dufour.
Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Dakota. I'm a classical bass soloist, and today I'm going to play Bach's Second Cello Suite in its entirety, and some bass classics from Cliff Burton and some other really cool bass pieces. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for tuning in. this is Bach's Prelude. Thank you for all those who tuned in. This is the last piece of my showcase, Bach's Prelude in G major. Hope you guys enjoy.
Is that everything? All right. So let me borrow your stools here, guys, and we're going to come in here, and we're going to talk with Dakota a little bit. There you go. Have a seat. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Have this one. There's some chairs back there if you guys want. All right. So we had Dakota come in and play here tonight because, well, I'm not even sure how we got connected. I know, I don't know if you reached out to me or I reached out.
I reached out to you.
I saw your videos on Facebook and watched you play your classical music on the bass. I never heard that before, and I was just intrigued by that. And so I figured I'd have you come play, show what you can do. And this is just a small example of the kind of music that you play, right? You're in a band. What's the name of your band?
My band is called Belvebeth.
Belvebeth, okay.
Yeah, we play deathcore. We're a metal band. We play all around here. Reading, PA, Allentown.
Oh, wow.
A lot of different places. A lot of different places out of state.
Okay.
You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, pretty much everything.
All right. So what's the name of the band again?
Belvebeth.
Belvebeth. And what's the genre again?
I'd say deathcore, blackened deathcore. It's some pretty extreme stuff.
Like heavy
yeah.
metal stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
so if
yeah,
you're into that
some
sort of
heavy
that kind of
stuff
music,
out there, yeah.
we thinking about bringing the whole band in here tonight, but I don't think we'd have probably tore the place down.
Oh yeah.
So and that leads me into my next question is I've heard that, and I think I've even watched a video on it, that classical music and heavy metal music have a lot in common as far as the structure of how the
Absolutely, yeah.
how it's all laid out and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Is that something that you picked up on?
I think they're very closely tied together.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the tonalities, a lot of the deep dramatic tones.
Very dramatic.
A
yes.
lot of Baroque music offers. You know, artists like John Sebastian Bach, Paganini, Beethoven, Mozart. You know, some of the great composers. Like, I think a lot of the modern metal out there, and even a lot of the older metal. You look at bands like Black Sabbath. They took these dark, dramatic tonalities and, you know, they incorporated it in their music to bring it to a new emotional height, and even like a lot of times to a new intellectual height as well in their compositions.
Oh yeah. And so you could probably almost take some of that old classical music, Bach, Beethoven, all stuff, and kind of transcribe it into a heavy metal sound, couldn't you?
I mean, there's a lot of riffs you can take of even what I was doing, and if you restructure the motifs or ideas of it, and you can really, you can turn the harmony into something like very reminiscent of metal.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. That's interesting. So how did you get into playing bass guitar for one thing, and then classical bass, which is even another step of difficulty? Do you play any other kind of instruments or just the bass?
I play bass, guitar, drums, and a little bit of synth.
Okay, a little bit of everything. Good.
And producing, which I consider its own instrument.
That's a whole other talent in itself. So how'd you get into playing bass then?
How did I get into playing bass? So I was always in orchestra, school band, things like that.
Okay, school band, good.
And in orchestra, I play the stand-up bass.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, those things didn't exactly just click with me. I don't know if I just at the time in my perspective, when I was a lot younger, maybe just didn't get it. Maybe didn't appreciate the company as much. Wanted to do kind of my own thing with music, and that was a little bit not as structured. But looking back at it, I wish I would have pursued it more and took it more seriously. Had a more open mind on it.
Well, you have that foundation anyway. You could always go back and pick up on it and play it.
For sure.
Just kind of hard to jump around on stage with an upright bass, though, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. From an early age, I definitely knew I wanted to rock and
yeah.
But also, like, I'm kind of, the more I grow, the more I learn, and so, to some extent, it's like circling back.
Well, sure. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that foundation and all that practice and effort you put into every instrument you play really shows. I mean, we had lots of comments on the live tonight. It's like, this guy must really has all these songs in his head and not even looking at any sheet music or anything. So a lot of practice, a lot of muscle memory, I'm sure, as you're going, right.
I'm sorry to interrupt real quick, but I was going to mention another key point that really made me want to take bass seriously was. So I had all this. I ended up at some point quitting all those.
Oh.
But I went to my first concert at the Bryce Jordan Center, and my dad took me. I was 13 years old, and it was Disturbed, Chevelle, and Nothing More.
Okay.
I saw that show, and the reason why it was so significant is when I saw that bass player in Disturbed, and I was really looking at what he was doing, I was like, I can do that.
Yeah, you knew what he was doing, and
I was like, I can do that. Wow. It always seems like it was such an unrealistic thing, like being a guitar shredder, or like the virtuoso guitar player. But like, you see someone like playing the simple bass lines that everyone can get into. Yeah. That inspired me. I was like, I can do that, and I want to do it. I want to be great too, and I want to show other people they can be great at this.
Well, that's interesting. That's great, because, like you said, usually the bass is usually kind of in the background, usually not up front. Usually not a bass solo happens very often in a rock show or anything. Every once in a while, but if the bass isn't in the music, you can notice the difference. Like a song sounds really terrible without the bass, and the bass is extremely important.
There's a stereotype, and everyone thinks of it like boom, boom.
Yeah,
boom,
just
boom.
basic boom, boom, boom.
There's a whole side of this instrument that hasn't been explored yet, like other instruments have.
Right.
And there's a whole new world to it that I believe still is kind of untapped into, and I just want to tap into more of that unknown territory and bring a different voice to this world, show a different side of this instrument to the world.
Absolutely. So you're really trying to push the envelope as far as bass playing and really showing people what can be done. And
modern innovation, modern bass playing, for sure.
So along those lines, then, what kind of advice would you give someone who might be interested in learning to play bass? Where's a good place to start? How do you even get started? Like, for example, what kind of bass is that? Like, what brand and all that?
This is a fantastic bass. It's by Sterling Music Man.
Okay.
It's a Stingray bass.
Okay.
I like these basses because they just have a very tight response and clanky tone to them.
Okay.
Very responsive. And whenever I first got one, it was just like the frets were perfect. Everything about it was perfect. It had the sound I wanted, and that's why I'm rocking it for this show.
So having a good bass guitar to start with, but then having a good amp. You gotta have a bass amp, right? You could probably play bass through a regular guitar amp, but you're just not gonna have the same tonal quality, right?
For sure.
And then you have a pedal board here with some different effects in, and can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So this is, obviously you guys can't see this, but this is the Boss ME50B multi-effect unit pedal, and there's a lot of different type of tonalities, soundscapes you can create with this thing. There's a wall which I incorporate a lot into what I do, because it makes it almost your bass sound like a vocal, almost like a human.
Yeah, I was noticing that tonight when you were playing.
A lot more expression. And I always got influenced by people like Jimi Hendrix, the way he would explore those effects, and kind of took it into Cliff Burton too, obviously, into my own light. This is a delay modulation. There's a bunch of reverb, chorus delay, chorus flanger, phaser. There's a drive and synth knob, so you can make this bass sound like a synth which
Okay.
sometimes I do that, and yeah, different types of distortions and overdrives. This is a filter. You can do octave down, octave up, doubler, a lot of different stuff, and get sometimes like a boost or volume boost, things like that. This is a compressor. Just make sure everything's a lot more even and smooth.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good deal.
This is what I've been using lately, and it's been serving me really well.
Yeah. Gives the bass a whole different sound rather than just the typical bass sound that you normally think of. So
yeah,
I really
it's like,
appreciate that.
Again, like there's a kind of stereotype of what people think a bass is or sounds like, and I just like kind of flipping it on its head.
Yeah, distort it a little bit and give
Yeah.
it that push and pull
For
back
sure, yeah,
and
yeah.
all that. Yeah, that's really awesome. And so, if somebody would want to get into learning how to play bass, what would maybe be the first step? What would you suggest?
I'd say definitely. It's really hard to say in a lot of facets because everybody's so different. Everyone's kind of has a different journey with it or a different way of learning. But I would always recommend, if you approach anything, kind of approach it in a scientific and academic way. Like study bass clef, study things like that. Like a lot of people discard like bass clef and like music theory, things like that. But I'd always say like study it from an academic way. Research the greats, research the music, find what you like. Ultimately find out what you're trying to say, and study the history of it. Study what you are influenced by and what influences that. It's, to me, like, you just really gotta search yourself and know yourself and what you want to get out of it.
Right.
Most importantly, because like what I want to do with the bass may be wildly different what someone else wants to do.
Right.
And it's all art and none of it's wrong, or like some people
Yeah,
just play like reed notes or
you can play it however you want. Just the main thing is jump in and do it. Yeah.
The main thing is like knowing what you want, and I would just say, look into the greats, look into bass players like Marcus Miller, Jaco Pastorius. Study from the greats, study from the legends who paved the way and allowed bass to even be played in this kind of way. So yeah, that's all I can say is like as long as you have a vision of what you want to be and the type of bass player you want to be in your head, it all starts kind of with that. And yeah, other than that, I'd say just approach it from, consistency in an academic way, study bass clef. These things will refine your playing, kind of like nothing else will.
Right. Yeah, you got to have that foundation built, and then you can start working on your style and your personality, how you want to play, and the style of music you want to play, and then you can get involved with other musicians and start a band and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely,
and you're in a band now, but you're always looking for more projects. Like you want to get involved with all kinds of different things. I know you said you were involved with the Cass Theater, playing in their pit band there for a show or two or something. You played there last week for their open mic, Friday Night Live. And so anything that you're interested in playing music, there's always a place to play somewhere. You just gotta go find it. Dakota's looking for projects to get involved in. So if you're looking for a bass player, he plays all kinds of instruments, but tonight just happens to be the bass. Look him up. How can people find you, Dakota?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. Anything you can think of.
He's on all of them.
Dakota Dufour.
Dakota Dufour, Dufour, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I also run a production and audio company called Dufour Audio.
Okay.
If your band needs mixing, mastering, recording, tracking, editing, production, any audio work of any kind, I'm your guy.
He's the man. All right. How old are you, by the way?
I am 20 years old.
20 years old. All right. So when did you start playing bass or start playing music in general?
I started playing around 13 years of age.
Okay. So a few years you've been playing, right? And how many hours a day do you practice, or how much time a day do you usually spend?
Oh man. I literally take any moment that I'm awake, and I use it for, like, if I can, I use it for practicing.
So you're
obviously every day is different, but like
you're either eating, sleeping, or
like,
playing music, right?
That's the
pretty
best
much
way I can put it.
Yeah. Well, it definitely shows. You're awesome in what you do. thank you for your inspiration and coming out to the Corner Stage Showcase and showing off your talent a little bit. And check him out. He's got some good things going here. So is there anything else you'd like to end the show on?
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate anyone who took the time to watch this. And yeah, keep making music, keep shredding.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, hope to see you guys at a live performance, maybe Cass, Dead Canary. That's where I play a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, come out and see some live music. Thanks you all for all your support. See ya.